Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back with another build guide, this time for my uncapped demon form. This build is completely broken. I'm dealing around 45 million DPS with 700-ish stacks, and you can go easily up to 1,000 or more if you have better gear. My gear doesn't have the right corruptions, or actually it just has no corruptions a lot of times, and I'm just using some very subpar pieces of gear. Even my wand, which was really good before I was Demon Form and before I was using Ataluis, now doesn't make any sense. You don't need the gain of damage as extra. It just doesn't. It's just not necessary and not good. If you had spell power or cold damage, that would be so much better. Anyways, I'm also not even using a level 20 gem. Even out of demon form, I'm doing 1.5 million DPS. Frost Dart you always want to triple the shown DPS because it shoots 3 darts and it can shotgun. That's the big thing about Frost Dart, the shotgun effect. Also, if they are chilled, you can basically add another. You can just multiply this by 6 instead. And we're not going to be using cold infusions because that's just a hassle. You know, there's no need for it. So I'm going to put some timestamps down in the description. And let's start the video by showing you a loaded T16 map. Let's go. So yeah, I didn't really. I mean, I kind of just threw in a random map in there on an abyss that I found. Could have been a bigger map. This build does better the more density, obviously. As you can see, everything will just pop even though you just have, 16 stacks right here. And like I said, it can go to over 1,000 stacks, no problem. It just takes too long to wait for that. But the thing is, it's reminiscent of the zero point 0.1 demon form build, where basically any unused stacks converts to regen and therefore converts to defenses. So it's fine. You go from being insanely defensive to being, just one-shotting anything in the game, including T4 pinnacles. So it's like while mapping, you definitely don't need to wait for any stacks. You just get going. In fact, if you just don't go demon form, you're unbelievably tanky the whole time, and you could probably just do any content without demon form at this point with the same build. It's just that I love demon form and the cast speed, and also the the improved dodge is just so nice. The way how it scales with movement speed. I mean, I'm pretty sure it does. And so you just like dash really far, and that's how you move. You're obviously less fast than Pathfinders, Deadeyes, and other really fast classes, but your damage is through the roof. The point of this class isn't to farm like a madman, it's just to break the game in terms of pure damage, and that's what I like to do. I like to find builds that just do something better than any other class can. And since the lightning warp tech that was used in my last build video was basically already taken by other content creators this league, I decided to just go a completely other route. Instead of speed, I just went for power, and I found something that was kind of unexpected. At first, I was using frost darts because it was the cheapest skill to build upon, because nobody uses that shit. It's terrible, you know what I mean? But it turns out it's actually the most powerful spell in the game, hands down. As long as you have an infused firewall in front of it, there's nothing that matches it. Nothing. And that's kind of cool, in my opinion. Also, the speed, you don't need to invest into any projectiles, increase projectiles or increase projectile speed, because it's just really good naturally. And my boots, I forget the name of them, but that's what's causing these explosions. So one frost dart does the overkill damage to everybody around them, which just pops whole packs at once. I will be showcasing the gear a little further in the video, and then the talents and the whole mechanics, because there are a few mechanics that are very weird that I figured out by playing this build. Like if you see at the bottom right, you can probably see that I have unleash stacks, which makes no sense considering I'm going cast speed, but it makes perfect sense you'll see why. I'll explain it later. And it's what really takes this build over the edge is doing little tricks like that that seemingly make no sense but end up being completely overpowered. And I'm sorry in this video, I just took one. I didn't like take a bunch of videos. I just took the one video and just decided to roll with it because I don't really have much time these days. And yeah, I kind of I kind of get lost every 2 seconds. I'm not the best player. I'm more of a build creator, you know. But yeah, I'm sorry for just kind of zoning out during the video and going random directions. But it shows you can just play this build super chill. You don't need to be like mechanically gifted, you know. You just anybody can make this build work. And as of now, since I don't think anybody's doing it, it's not the most expensive build. I mean, it's definitely expensive because it uses a lot of blood mage tech, but it's not the most expensive. It's doable for a normal person, and you can basically make it work. I think pretty early, honestly. Like I was just using crit infernalist at first, which is no demon form at all, or just 10 stack demon form, and it was working fine. I was already doing the whole content. This build is just to go completely over the edge, and you know, I one tap Harbinger on this build with a full group, and people are like, "What just happened?" It's like they don't even have time to ramp up or anything. I mean, if I have my stacks, obviously, so they have to wait for me, which is kind of troll. But when I rush people, they definitely are impressed by the one tap potential of this build. And yeah, we're gonna play the whole thing and go to the boss just cause, you know, just so you start to finish. But as you can see, things die before they even appear. It's kind of ridiculous. Also, I know I'm not picking up like stuff like this gem cutters. I mean, I'm over it at this point. The way I make my currency is by trading, so it's like I don't really care about rarity unless it's a divine. I mean, oftentimes I'll just skip it entirely. It's like I don't have time for this. I play to have fun, not to freak out over every little thing, you know. Now, often it's like if an exalt is out of my screen, I kind of just don't even go for it most of the time. Yeah, here I don't know even why I started setting up for this boss. I just need to, you know, shoot it. There's no point in preparing and putting that curse down, but it's just force of habit. Okay, so let's go over the gear and what each piece does real quick. So the whole point of the guild is life stacking because life will give us energy shield, regen for both life energy and energy shield, crit damage, spell power, uh, and mainly or also damage on Adelui's bloodletting. So just we're a life stacking build, kind of like blood mages. It's just that we take advantage of the regen from Tekrod's Undying Hate, Tekrod, to go completely out of control with regen in order to sustain on our demon form on top of it. So first of all, the helm. This helm is cheap if you get a crappy corruption. This corruption is considered very crappy and makes the. I mean, this was 10x exalts. So this is actually really good for our build. Something better would be 60% increased max life, but this is great. So I just grabbed this for 10x because I didn't even know if this build would work, honestly. So it was quite of an investment, but it turned out to be amazing. And so life regen is just grab that. You know, you don't need to get the 60% increased max life. Obviously, it's better, but if you don't want to spend too much, 10 exalts for this. I mean, damn. I've got Wrathpith Globe. This is pretty expensive, like 10, 14 divs. You don't want, either you get a clean one like I did, or you get a corrupted one that increases those numbers right here. You don't want to get a corrupted one that produces those numbers. That's just terrible. And yeah, the clean ones are cheaper than good corrupted ones. This is why I got a clean one. This this line right here seems bad, but it's actually amazing for our build. The more our spells cost life, the more damage we do, and the more regen we get. So it's amazing. then we get 10% increase damage per 100 life and 5% increase crit chance per 100 life. So you think I have 4,500 life, but I don't. I actually have 6,000 life. The reserved life is not what's taken into account for calculation, it's your maximum life. So reserving a little life doesn't matter for your damage, and you'll see why, but it actually adds a ton of defenses. So it's a very it's a very contradicting build that ends up being completely overpowered because you're stacking max life and then you're reserving max life. Seems to make no sense, but it'll make perfect sense. This amulet is something I crafted before. It's pretty bad, but it has 3 stats that I want: max energy shield, max life, and 3 dual spell skills. It would be even better if you got some cast speed and some crit damage bonus, and instead of mana, 8% increased life. Then it would be huge. So yeah, this it's the wrong base and it's pretty shitty, but it at least has some of the stats that I want. Uh, just so you guys know, most of my gear is not top tier. It is good, but it's not top tier. Trample Toe. I'll explain this one in a sec because it's a bunch of hidden tech. So here, another item that gets reduced, the cost gets reduced by this supposedly shitty corruption, which for this build is amazing. So you grab, these are pretty high rolls, obviously. You grab the best one you can for with this corruption. You can get those for dirt cheap, honestly. Mine are 1 div each because they're high rolls. So even though it rolled a bad corruption, they're still high rolls. But a clean one is cheaper, is more expensive than those with the life regen, and the life regen is what we want. There's no other corruption on rings that we would want that I'm aware of. These gloves are just a little bit of a chaos resist, crit damage bonus, and life with some energy shield. It would be so much better instead of the dexterity. I had 100% increased effect of socketed items, and you could get those to 3 sockets, which means you get 16% times 3 cast speed instead of the 8%. You can really get huge gloves for this build. This wand I also crafted myself. It's decent, but if you can replace the extra damage, damage is extra fire, damage is extra cold, for just cold damage and spell power, you will again do so much more damage. Also, the crit chance for spells is good. I think crit damage bonus would be better. Let's look at our frost darts. We have a 84% crit and 851% crit bonus. Think lowering this number to increase this number could be better considering we're using pain attunement. So yeah. Then we're using Coward's Legacy. This belt is mandatory to this build in my opinion. At first I was using Grinning Immolation, which seems like it's better than just being low life because of pain attunement, but it turns out it is not better at all. First of all, if you go these 2 points, you can't get Beta's Hand, which means you lose a ton of energy shield. But also, pain attunement, you get the crit damage bonus 30%, but you also get this node 20% cast speed on low life. So Grinning Immolation is less good than just being low life with Coward's Legacy. I've tested it. It doesn't. It's unintuitive, but it is true. What else am I missing here? Oh, and Trample Toe. So Trample Toe. This is hidden tech that is amazing. So everybody knows about the overkill damage. So that's why my frost bolts are like clearing screens. The overkill damage does overkill damage, which clears more mobs, which does overkill damage, which clears more mobs, and that's why the whole screen gets deleted most of the time. But another effect is that the overkill damage takes the element of what caused the overkill damage. Frost darts is not supposed to be able to cause freeze or chill, but the overkill damage is cold, so it does. And that means that we're actually getting those ice chunks while mapping, which increase your AoE by a lot. They don't drop exactly on the mob, so if I got hit by a frost dart, the ice chunks wouldn't drop here. They would drop like here, here, and here, which would mean a bunch of added AoE. Excuse me. So yeah, that's it for the gear. Charms, you can get much better charms than this. These are the ones I'm using. The This potion, not important as long as it's a good potion. We never use mana, so this, you just don't need really potions. In demon form, we have life tap, so that we don't spend mana. I'll explain why in a sec. Second wind, just in case you misclick and get out demon form for some reason, and cooldown recovery. These aren't really necessary, but I put them in there because if you can, what's it called? It's really expensive, but there is a gem that you can get. Let me see. What is it called again? This one. The 10% quality of supported skills will give you 5% increased cast speed. So it's super expensive, like 30 divines, but you can get 5% free cast speed from it. Spellslinger, I don't use it, but I'll still show it in case you're not you're trying to build a cheaper version of the build. It's totally useful to one-shot rares when you're not strong enough. So life tap, again, because I don't want to spend mana. Energy capacitor that allows me to throw one more comet. Zenith. So Zenith is amazing because it's more damage when you're above 9% mana. I never use mana. And Imbiter, so that's for the Aloy's Bloodletting. I just want to do pure cold damage. Sigil of Power. Okay, so I saw a video from Captain Lance, and he's able to stack the Sigil of Power using only life. But that must be a Blood Mage hidden tech because it's not working for me. So forget about Sigil of Power. You can just use one stack if you want. It still adds a little bit of damage. It's not bad, but it's obviously not impressive. Frost Darts. First thing to note about Frost Darts, the damage, it only shows one dart. So you'll always see more damage on other skills because it's basically just showing a third of the damage it's actually doing. So yeah, so for Frost Darts, we're using Aloy's Bloodletting. This is the core of the build, literally. Supported skills gain 2% of damage as extra physical damage. That's huge. And another thing that's huge is 150% cost multiplier, which just amplifies how much life we use. Also, skill mana cost converted to life. It's just amazing. So it increases how much life we use, which increases how much damage, physical damage we do. But in reality, it also increases our regen from Tech Rod's gem in my talent tree. I'll explain that a little more after. But so, yeah, Aloy's Bloodletting, this is the core of the build. Execute 3, the best support gem there is right now that is not a unique support gem. It is just amazing. Then we use Zenith for the same reason. First of all, cost multiplier 120%. That's huge. Look at the difference. That's a huge damage increase. And 30% more damage while we're on 90% of our max mana or above. Which we always are because we just don't use mana. And that's one of the bonuses we have from Blood Mages is they actually remove their mana costs. I mean, they have to. They don't have mana because they use a blood magic. I mean, I guess they don't have to, but they do for some reason. Then we're using Unleash support, and this is what's really funny because we don't care about the seals. We're a cast speed build. Seals are terrible for cast speed, but it has a 150% cost multiplier. Look at how much damage I lose just because of the cost multiplier. That's like that's about the 30% damage, more damage from Unleash. So again, the cost multiplier also gives regen, which applies to our energy shield and our life, and basically allows us to stack even more demon stacks. Then we have Imbiter. This is for when I'm bossing. Frostbolt here is only to hold support gems for my Frost Dart. I used to be Frostbolt before I discovered how amazing Frost Dart was. So it converts everything to cold. If I use Sion's Temper when I'm mapping, and as you can see, my Frost Dart does way more physical damage than any other type of damage. And that's not good when you're using your Curse, which is why Imbiter, not only does it have 20% cost multiplier, which increases the damage on this build, again by a lot, but it converts everything to cold, which means that when you are doing when you're cursing a boss, he will take way more damage that's not shown on the tooltip. Piety's Mercy, when I'm killing bosses for somebody else and they've got rarity gear, I make sure not to kill it. With this, it's perfect. You cannot kill, so they get the kill no matter what. Now, I'm not using Frostbomb anymore, but I still have it. This is if you're not as powerful as you want to be. This will apply elemental exposure and 2% exposure per pulse. So we're going to drop Overabundance and Spell Echo. Like this, you drop 2 of them. So your pulses, the 2% exposure per pulse, you're getting double the value here. Long Fuse, which is supposed to be for grenades, but it totally works for Frostbomb, increases how long it takes for it to detonate. Where is it? Detonation time, 6.8. If I remove it, 4 seconds. So this means more pulses, which means more exposure. And then I have Potent Exposure for stronger exposure. Orb of Storms, you can have this be a level 3 skill gem. It doesn't matter. I just use this to give Flame Wall my, how is it called? The infusions, lightning infusions. So these gems here, you can take a look at them. None of them are actually necessary. You drop your Orb of Storms, you get your infusions, and then you can get an infused Flame Wall, which causes you to deal unreal damage with Frost Darts. So let me show you Flame Wall. Flame Wall, it doesn't seem like a lot of damage, 4973, but something to note is it adds to the base damage. So the base damage here is 183 to 75. That's actually quite a decent amount. It's like 30%. Not to mention, when you infuse it, you can basically double this number. So it is like 50% more damage on Frost Darts. And considering Frost Dart shoots 3 times, this is why Flame Wall is so effective on Frost Darts specifically. Then we have our element. Oh, let me look at the Flame Wall. Life Tap, because I don't like using mana. Fortress, Spell Cascade, and Fire Mastery. Fire Mastery is important because that's the only way to increase the projectile damage. Elemental Weakness, again, we have Life Tap, Heightened Curse, Focus Curse, Curse Ground, and Prolonged Duration. You will notice that it says 15 seconds. That's because there's a bug that doesn't show the increased curse duration. This only includes the increased skill effect duration. My curse is actually 40 seconds or so. I didn't really time it, but it's much longer than it says. So now let's take a look at the skill tree and everything will come together. So first of all, we have Demon Form, Uncapped Demon Form. You don't have to have this. You could go Grinning Immolation instead of Uncapped Demon Form. You will do less damage, but it doesn't matter in reality. But if you want to one-tap bosses, this is important. Altered Flesh. This does nothing good for us except for the physical damage taken as chaos. Because of our helm, Veil of the Night, we have no resistances. So converting one elemental to another makes no sense for us. These little nodes are really nice. And then we have Baydat's Hand. This adds a ton of energy shield. We have no energy shield on our build. Literally, the only piece with energy shield is our gloves, but we're reaching 4600 all because of Baydat's Hand. And reserving life doesn't affect us in the way that you would think, because everything, all our goodies are based off our max life, not on our unreserved max life. So taking this is just a straight defense boost for us. And also it sets us low life, which means with Coward's Legacy, we get to use Pain Attunement, 30% more crit damage bonus, and Final Barrage, 20% increased cast speed. I love cast speed. There's cast speed here, 20%, 16%, 8%. Yeah, cast speed is really good, and those 3 points really makes a big difference. Zealot's Oath, this is important. Excuse me. So your excess life recovery from regeneration is applied to Energy Shield. And your Energy Shield does not recharge. So when we get Let me show you real quick. This is our tech rods at play here. The more we spend, the more life we spend, the more regen we get. And so when we get to whatever number we're going to get, I think it's 20k when we're using Sion. Yeah, this actually regens energy shield because we're not losing life, as you can see. So every time it goes up, all the extra overflow of life that we're supposed to regen goes to our energy shield, which caps us instantly. And it's even stronger when we're against bosses with Inviter because the cost of Inviter is 20% more cost. And so again, the more cost, the more regen we get. So we're gonna get to like 24k here. That's a lot, considering we're not really, we don't have the tech that usually people have to get these kind of numbers for defenses. There, so yeah. Then we take those nodes, increase life cost of skills for the same reason. The higher your skills cost, the better. So if I could get my skills to cost 4,500 life, I would. I haven't found a way yet, though. 25% life regen. Life regen is also very important, which is why we get From Nothing Jewel with Bulwark. And we take all those points down here to get a bunch of life regen. Then, yeah, we get some extra increased maximum energy shield on a few nodes. Wherever we can, this really makes a big difference in defenses. Crit where we can. There's some here as well. And this point is really nice. This is life regen and increased max life. So going this route is actually really nice. And so Tech Rod minus shitty. Don't worry about this. This is bad. But the important part is it's an Undying Hate with a tribute to Tech Rod. That's what's important. This will convert your keystones in radius to Sacrifice of Blood. I tried taking 2 of those. It doesn't do anything, so don't do it. Now, what's important here, well, there's 2 things. First of all, 50% more life cost of skills. As I've explained, life cost of skills is damage and regen. It's huge. If it was just that, it would be good. But on top of it, regenerate 1 life per second for 8 life spent in the past 8 seconds. This is why we're able to reach 24k regen, because this stacks. It's not every cast you do, it increases the power. And so the 1 life regenerated with all our increased percent life regen, it's like we're recovering way more life than we spent every cast. And so, yeah, this is basically the build. If you see, weapon set 1 is the red parts. Have a few of them right here. Weapon set 2 is the green parts. That's just to increase our curse and our flame wall. Everything else is on weapon set 1. So yeah, you just get some quality of life with the curse and some power. And yeah, I will show a link to my PoE Ninja in the description, so you can just copy it without listening to me talk. And I think that's it for the build. If I forgot something, if I didn't make something clear, or if you have any sort of question, please ask the question in the comment section. I'll be glad to answer. As you guys know, I'm a very small content creator. I have only 1 video to my name prior to this one, and I only plan on doing about 1 build guide per season. So I skipped season 2. I had a build guide for 0.1, which I'm not deleting because it's still fun to watch. And this build guide for 0.3. My next build guide will be in 0.4. And yeah, if you have, like I said, if you have any questions and if you want to shoot a like or a subscribe, that would be appreciated. But, I don't really care. I'm not doing this for money. I'm just doing this because people have asked me to share my my build. And yeah, that's it, folks. So hope you guys find a bunch of divines and some mirrors, and see you next time.